All right, what is going on? How y'all doing out there in Atlanta, Bird Gang Land, and also in Uncle Steve's Lounge on the YouTube channel? Happy to see y'all on a Friday, December 10th. And boy, we coming right around the corner. It just seemed like there was just a second ago where we were kind of getting into the season of to the Christmas season. We were like, oh man, well, when we get into December, these games will mean this and these games will mean that. Well, guess what? It's December now. And last I checked, looked at the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons took one on the chin last week. I can't sit here and act like we were totally surprised. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers doing what they do, uh, managing the game just enough to take out a far inferior team to them, uh, 30-17. That's again not really a whole lot of shock in that game. Would like to see some execution things from the Falcons standpoint. Did not see that. Hopefully, you will get your game together because we're going into. I think this is week 13. Oh, this is officially week 14 because we had to buy a week 14, and the Falcons sit right now on the outside looking in when you start talking about playoffs. And I know a lot of people don't want to talk about that, but listen, at the end of the day, when you start talking about what are you playing for, you're playing to win back your fan base. That's one thing. You're playing to get folks to put some more eyes back on you. You're playing to get that stadium filled up, something you haven't been able to accomplish at Mercedes-Benz. You're playing to let the fans know that you care about the organization. That's the folks who are the players, to the coaches, to the front office, all the way up to Arthur Blank. Right now, aside of the playoff scenarios, you're playing to try to win your fan base back. And right now, you are failing miserably at this time at keeping your fan base's attention. We are at 5-7. And if it started right now, looking at things, you are in the 11th place as far as the playoffs concerned. You don't have tiebreakers over Carolina, Washington, and Philadelphia, who are all over you. So when I hear Matt Ryan and Coach Smith start talking about in the mix, I'm not mad at them for that. That's what you're supposed to do. You need to find things that motivate you. I know a lot of people remember Michael Jordan when he had the Last Dance thing that came out, and he kept talking about things that he needed to get his motivation, things that motivated him. Those are the things that motivate this team right now. You have a mark. You have a mark that you're going to look to say, hey, let's try to see what we can do to end this season. And you're playing a team in Carolina that's pretty much in the same boat as you are. They're 5-7, technically one step ahead of you because of the head-to-head win earlier in the year. And Carolina has dialed up the old DeLorean from Back to the Future and went back and got the number one pick of 2010 in Cam Newton and brought him back in the mix, thinking that would spark some things. And, 2 plays in an Arizona game that, really didn't mean a lot in the big scheme of things. Everybody was thinking Cam was back. And 2 games later, they'll realize that, oh, this is why we didn't re-sign you. This is why we didn't let you finish this contract. So Carolina, pretty much same boat as we are. So this is going to be one of those games, on paper, it should be pretty even. Christian McCaffrey, who has probably the most, him and Saquon Barkley are 2 guys that I don't know, physically may not just be able to handle the rigors of a 16-game season because neither one of them seem to be able to finish the whole season at one time. I truly think Carolina needs to go to a rotational back. Maybe it's the fact that they were giving him the ball so much and depended on him to do so much in that offense. But he's not available. I know they have a couple of people on the offensive line. I think their center is out. So they're in the same position, but they are at home. So give them a slight hedge. I think the books had them at -2.5, which means basically it's a pick 'em game. The Atlanta Falcons, who last couple of weeks, I know Jacksonville, because it's Jacksonville, but at least they've been trying to run the ball a little bit more. Even believe it or not, against Tampa Bay, who's the stingiest run defense in the league, we did some good things there, not consistent, but some good things. Even a Mike Davis showing in that game. So what do we do against a Carolina team who started off the gate so fast at 3-0 and had followed that up with 7 out of 9 losses? What do the Falcons do to change the narrative to let everybody know that we are a different team than we were when we played Carolina back when then? Because I see two teams looking in the mirror. I see this as Carolina looking for answers, trying to figure out their future. They just fired Joe Brady. So something is messed up in the mix. And I almost think the Joe Brady thing kind of surprises me, because when you start taking into effect that they've changed quarterbacks, McCaffrey, who is, probably one of the most electric all-purpose guys when he's in the game, has been out on chunks of last year and now this year. Joe Brady was probably a scapegoat in this whole thing. I think he paid a price for the injuries that Carolina has had. So going into this game, what do you see? What do you all think the Falcons need to do to win this game? Can we win this game? I don't know. I'm going to give you my opinion, but I'm talking about, what do you think? Do you guys think that Carolina will lose? Will we lose to Carolina, or can we beat Carolina? What's going on, Rusty? How you doing, man? Put this stuff on the screen so I don't have to go here. Rusty says, Tidy made a good point the other day. Say we ended up trading the 4th pick last year to Detroit. We could have traded back, got Micah or offensive line, and we'll probably have the pick of the year, which right now is the 1st overall. Until we start getting on the right side of transactions like that, we would not be successful. Here's the only thing about that. And I said this at draft time. Once we make the pick, it's hard to go back. I keep hearing people, and I'm not picking on you, Rusty, because I see other people doing this same thing. We keep talking about what we could have gone back. Michael Parsons, we could have got him in the top 5. Nobody in the last draft was going to get Michael Parsons in the top 5, including the Falcons. We should have got Sewell, which actually would have been interesting if he was, because he's doing a decent job on a horrible team. We could have got Surtain. We could have got whatever. Now it's done. The one thing we don't know about this draft class is how they're going to develop. We are 12 games in, and we haven't had a big area of film to look at these guys. You've had 12 games, and a lot of these rookies haven't even played. Some of them have, Mayfield, and little sprinkle here of Richie Grant. But you really haven't seen a lot of the rooks out there. We're still trying to develop second-year players. So, somebody was making the point about Marlon Davidson, and I'm trying to think, where did I hear that from? It's probably the radio. When Marlon Davidson, this is his second year, and I know you want to go and criticize him quickly because he was a second-round pick. But at the same time, not only was he a rook last year, well, now in his second year, you basically have to trash what you learned, and now you got to learn from a whole new defensive coordinator. There are a lot of things about this team that we need to evaluate and look at. But I find it hard to play the Wayback Machine with the draft. I can get upset that we didn't do a couple of things, but I'm not gonna play what if going back. Now we can play what if going forward, but the what if going back is just talk, and that's nothing we can do about that. Brother Mo, how you doing, man? We about to smash Carolina. I hope so. I hope I'm sitting here Sunday at 4:30 talking to y'all. Actually, I think we might go on a little bit later, closer to 6 or 7, because I think Marcus comes on usually right after an Atlanta Bird game. And we have a victory against Carolina. I hope we do. Rusty comes back and says, I shouldn't say we won't be successful, but that's the difference between elite franchises and middle of the pack franchises. Here's the thing again, and I'm going to go back to Terry Fontenot and Arthur Smith have had less than a year to do what they do with this team. I am not trying to make excuses for, average play, but I also say this is Terry's first time in this shot. This is Arthur's first time in this shot. I'm not going to condemn them totally, but elite franchises don't start in a year. We brought these guys to take us to that level. So a fair assessment would be maybe the end of next year going into 2023. Right now, we were given, I just told somebody on the post when they were talking about, I might have to start doing that too. We go through the Atlanta Bird game post. It's always interesting. Terry Fontenot was in the picture, and I think that was our buddy Dookie showing the post. And I was telling him that Terry Fontenot was, eager to have the opportunity. You still are one of 32 to have that job, but he was given a bag of magic beans. He was given a bag of you know how the scrambled egg, not the eggs that are already, you buy the dozen and stuff. He got the eggs that were already mixed in together that comes in the little carton. He didn't get a chance to crack each egg and say, oops, that egg's bad. Oops, that egg's bad. He got that batter egg in that carton that was already mixed up, and he couldn't do anything with that. And now we're expecting him to absolutely just make magic. And you can't. That's why I hold off a lot of criticism. Game-to-game criticism, Arthur Smith, eventually Terry Fontenot, absolutely, especially Arthur Smith. But I'm also going to hold out and say, look, I'm not ready to march down on Peachtree for 5 and 7. But this time last year, we were literally, as a fan base, talking about losing games to get a top 5 pick. Losing games, which is, to me, the most ridiculous thing in the history of the world. But it is what it is. Brother Keith, how you doing, man? Said we should win this week, probably something like 23-20. Look, at this point, Keith, with this particular team, brother, I'll win 19.6 to 19.5. Because every win we stack gives confidence for these young men going forward. This is a young team, aside of the signal caller. This is a young team. So as we bank these wins, the confidence will grow in some of these young guys, and they'll learn how to win. Remember how we used to criticize the Dan Quinn philosophy in preseason, where he would not try to win games, but basically try not to get people hurt? You have to teach these guys how to win. When you come out of preseason with no wins, it doesn't give you a sense of, oh, this is how this feels. This is how we finish. This is how we do that. You gotta teach these guys how to become a team, how to finish these things, how to not blow leads. That's the one thing I look at with these with these games coming forward. Whether we make the playoffs or not, you bank these wins and you go forward. It's not a matter of being the elite franchise on December 10th, 2021. That's not going to happen. But we're still fans, and our expectations is to have a team out there that gives the effort to try to win. I haven't had any effort, and I try to remember. To me, effort and heart are two different things. I see the effort with a lot of these guys. I do, and most of them I see the heart. There are a couple of people that I would, quiet as is kept, not going to say their names, but I have to question. I look at a couple of plays and I look at them on the sideline, and I'm saying, and then I see some people that are getting double, triple teams and still out there barking and still in the game and still in the middle of it. Those are the type of players that I'm willing to go to bat for. This is what as a fan, this is what I'm looking forward to in the future and next year. Anthony, what's going on? So we have to make the needed adjustments to win and don't deviate from the game plan. If it's working, there's no way we ran the ball on Tampa Bay the way they did just to get to the end zone and throw the ball. That's ridiculous. And that's one of those things, Anthony, when I go back to start talking about coaching in your rookie year, coaching mistakes that you make. This is Arthur Smith's first time at this. He's going to make mistakes. Mike Smith made mistakes. Dan Quinn made mistakes. Jim Mora made mistakes. Shoot, Dan Reeves made mistakes, especially the first time out. Now, we brought a veteran coach in here, and he's falling all over his face and doing something. That's a different thing. But I want Arthur Smith to come in here, and yes, he's learning on the job, folks. There's no doubt about it. We're going to have some rough patches, but at least I see some things I like. To your point, Anthony, run the ball, man. Run the ball. It almost kind of last week at that goal line situation was so similar to the New England Seattle Super Bowl stuff, where you got Marshawn Lynch, who basically threw the team on his back to get inside the 5-yard line, and then you try to do some, make my quarterback stats look great play. Even though he did in Arthur Smith's defense, he said he planned on running the ball during that second down, but that's another Arthur Smith thing. You're playing juggling centers, so things are, discombobulated. That's something that we really have to look at, y'all. We got to get that together. Cam says, I hope we smash the Kittens of Carolina. That makes two of us. Brother Ray, how you doing, man? I'd love to get on with you from South Korea, man. Do your thing, brother. Thank you for serving. Appreciate you, man. And take care down there. We're going to try to hold it down up here for you and get you a couple of wins so you can join us on Sunday and talk about some stuff, brother. But glad to hear you, and thank you for your service in there. I'm trying to catch. I'm sorry because I'm trying to catch the names over here. J Dot, what's going on, buddy? Said offense needs to put the ball in the end zone in order to win this game. J Dot, we need to be concentrating on get in the red zone. We got to close the deal, man. We got to close the deal. There have been times we got in the red zone, but it seems like the same stuff, narratives that we keep talking about in Falcons franchise, no matter who the coach is, no matter who's in place, who's in charge, what talent. Three things that we keep talking about. Offensive line not blocking for Matt. Defensive line not getting any pressure. We can't score in the red zone. That was Julio. That was now with Kyle Pitts. That was before when Michael Turner was here. Well, Michael Turner used to do a better job of getting into the red zone. That was in the Mike Vick era. It doesn't matter. Those three things keep cropping up with this franchise. We got to do that more. Mo says it. We got to score points. And when I say score points, Mo, we're not talking about every 3 points. We need to put up 6 and every now and then 8. Keep doing that. That's the kind of thing we got to do. Brother Damon, how you doing, sir? Say the win is a win. Yes, it is. We're at a point in the year where I don't care. Style points don't matter. Do you think for 1 second that Bill Belichick could care about Mac Jones throwing the ball 3 times? That was almost a kind of dominant performance against Buffalo. Was it pretty? No. But that game plan and be able to stick with that game plan and say, I don't care. I'm going to run this ball. Now, granted, he has the offensive line and he didn't have any special running backs. Damian Harris is not special. The other guys back there are not special. Stevenson is not special. Those are just guys who execute. Bill Belichick gets it all the time. He doesn't get all pro. Closest he got to getting the all pro running back was when what's the guy from Cincinnati? Corey Dillon. When he got Corey Dillon back there. But you look at the history. He had Dion Lewis back there at the running back position at some times. Bill Belichick gets a game plan, has his trenches taught up on both sides, defense and offense, and he goes with it. And he's very close this year, very close to showing people and showing franchise, be watching Atlanta, we can move away from Tom Brady. We can move away from Tom Brady and be just as successful. He's showing the game. He's showing the blueprint. What's going on, Ron? Good to see you. Lisa, how you doing? Let's see what happens in Carolina. Yeah, let's see. Hopefully we notice that. So Damon says everyone sees the effort, and they do it. Damon, I get to the point sometimes where we're in the group, and obviously I don't see as much on the YouTube when it comes through. But when you see on Facebook, and I think in the moment we get mad at situations. I do it too. I'm guilty when somebody doesn't do anything, and we take the the terms of the kids. Oh, he's trash. He's garbage. He's this because they don't do a certain play. It's not like you don't see them trying. Mayfield is getting baptized this year by every defensive line he has. It's going to do one or two things going into 2022. And trust me, we'll find out. It's either going to make him better for next year, or we're going to realize that wasn't the right guy. Isaiah Oliver, and I'm not trying to make him Darrelle Revis or Deion Sanders or anything. Isaiah Oliver, when he came in there and he was thrust into the position at cornerback way quicker than we wanted him to, this whole fan base was critical of him. Now this year, we're actually crying, saying, oh my God, we lost Oliver. Because he got a chance to develop. He got a chance to play and learn and develop into a player. Not an all-star, but a solid competitor. Those are things that, as fans, sometimes we're not very good at the patient game. Now, in our defense, when the patient game has been waiting since 2017 to have a winning product, I kind of don't blame us. But at the same, with the player development, it's hard. It's hard for me to sit back and say, yeah, well, we're going to let Richie Grant get one. Shoot, if Richie Grant got the talent, let's get him out there. Let's see what he got. Frank Darby, we're just holding him back because we want to make sure we develop. Well, if we can't get any worse in the wide receiver core coming into this season before all the Julio stuff and all the mess like that. I said it. I thought the receiving core was our strength because at that time it was Julio, Calvin, Gage backing them up, OZ backing them up. Of course, 6 months later, we're hurt. That's a whole nother position now we have to look at in free agency and the draft. And no disrespect to Russell Gage, because Russell Gage didn't plan on doing that. He didn't plan on being the starter. Lisa said, I'm tripping on the fact that the regular season is almost over. It's fine by 80 years. I'm like, dude, week 14. I'm like, wow, it really got through. Buck, what's going on, Buck? Said we already did better than last year. And we did, Buck. I think it's one of those things where yes, you had 4 wins this year, you got 5 with 4 games left, or 5 games left. But it's still a feel of so much left on the field. We left so much on the field. I think about the Washington game. I think about the Carolina game, the previous one. I think about the it just hit my mind. The first Tampa Bay game. We left so much on the field that could have been better. So yes, you're correct. We are in a bigger place, but that doesn't mean we need to settle for that. And I'm not suggesting that's what you're saying, but we shouldn't settle for 5 wins going into the season, because we've had an opportunity to really be 8-4 if you really look at it. If we did what we were supposed to do, it's a decision making. Damon says, but there are different levels to this. Absolutely, they are. Absolutely, they are. Lisa, I was so mad at that goal line play calling. Yeah, join the club. A lot of us were. Brother Jeremy, what's going on, man? And Jeremy, if y'all get a chance, man, and I don't do this to try to kiss up to Jeremy or whatever, but brother throwing the Matt Ryan post up there, speaking in the third person there. I love it. Love it. One thing I noticed a lot last week is that Ryan seems to be straight up panicking pre-snap. Can't say that I blame him with this roster as much as he's getting bull rushed, but the dude needs to take a Xanax. But you just said it in your second sentence, though, Jeremy. Can't blame him with this roster. It's one thing, Jeremy, when the edges catch up to you. It's one thing. I'm not ready to put McGarry or whoever we have on the right side up saying that they're solid. But Jake has been pretty solid on the other side. And if you look where they run to Lindstrom's side quite a bit. And I've noticed Lindstrom has been pulling quite a bit. And every time they pull Lindstrom, I think Cordell's eyes look at the back of Lindstrom's jersey and follow it. Don't believe me? Look, I was watching last week a little bit. But Jeremy, that rush is coming straight up the middle. And when you talk about what Mayfield / Dahlman, Hennessy, whatever ridiculous concoction they're coming up with at center, that stuff is coming straight through the center. And you had 2 dominant defensive guys in Vita Vea and Ndamukong Suh just feasting on that last week. I get what you're saying. He does seem to panic. He didn't seem to panic as much last week 2 weeks ago against Jacksonville, because he got a little bit better protection and we were able to run the ball. And when you're able to run the ball, you can slow down that pass rush. So for the umpteenth time, offensive line got to play better. And it's not like they're super. Mayfield, yes. Dahlman, yes. But we have to improve that. And it's not like the organization pre-Fontenot didn't try to address that. We brought in the 2 salary stealers from the Jets, Carpenter and Brown, and they didn't do anything. It's not like they don't realize we don't have that problem. It's just they don't pan out. And it's hard, man. It's tough. Damon, I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Ray said that game plan, that game plan was good enough. David says, run the damn ball. If it works, keep running till they stop it. That's how they should have played the game. again, if you have the talent to do that successfully, yes. Do we have that talent? We have a couple of guys that can do it. And give Allison a shot. You have nothing to lose right now. Mike Davis, who congratulations was chosen as the Falcons representative for Man of the Year, obviously does some good things off the field. I'm happy for him as a local guy that's able to come in. But when it comes to on the field, it has not been very good for Mike Davis. Yes, I saw the couple of flash runs he had last week, and I'm not totally turning a blind eye to that. But we need more. We need more. Even though we realize what CP has turned into, in order for this team to be successful and in order for this team to do that type of running that you're talking about, we have to stay consistent and stay with it. I'm not saying do the New England game plan and throw the ball 3 times. No, this offense has the capability. You have Kyle Pitts out there. Russell Gage is not an absolute scrub. You have CP coming out the backfield or lining up at wide receiver. You have talent enough to mix and match this thing. But you've got to establish the run. And again, goes back to the 2 lines. Offensive line, you've got to enforce your will on Carolina this week. Carolina is not a world beater. They look like it when they beat us, but they're not. They're really not. And you know Cam's going to be extra hyped to play Atlanta. So you just got to go in there and take the fight to them. And we'll see which Atlanta team shows up. So they beat Buffalo, and Buffalo running the ball. Great pan for Darth Vader Belichick. Oh, Brother Corliss, how you doing? Say good afternoon, Steve. This is why B&B and Walsh are 2 of the best to do it. Neither emotionally tethered themselves to their quarterback. Logo is first, feelings are second. And when you start talking about Bill Walsh, Walsh is one of the, and I'm sorry, y'all, I'm a little old school. I'm not trying to say I don't give Bill Belichick his credit, but to me, in the era that I grew up early, Bill Walsh, man, that offense that he had in San Francisco, and Joe Montana was, to me, a much more talented pro quarterback. He was good at Notre Dame, but in that offense that Bill Walsh had, oh my goodness. And he utilized everybody. When you hear names like Rathman and Craig and Dwight Clark and Freddie Solomon and Russ Francis and Jerry Rice and what's my guy name? Scored the touchdown in the Super Bowl. John Taylor. He used everybody. When people were talking about Atlanta, it was funny that everybody kept going back to the Los Angeles Rams best show on turf thing. I always thought that 2016, what Kyle Shanahan was doing, was a reflection of what San Francisco was doing. If you think about that year, everybody was eating on the Falcons team. Shoot, the fullback was eating on that team. From Gabriel to Sanu to Aldrick Robinson to Julio to Devonta to Tevin Coleman, even to the other, what was the other little third back we had? Don't even know his name, but Ward. Everybody was eating. You were spreading the ball around. Those are the things that I loved. Those are things I loved about what we were doing back then. And I know we can't go back. I was telling y'all about that with the draft, so I'm not going to, play sentimental back in the day. But we got to do stuff like that. We got to. My brother David, how you doing? Said, does Matt need to throw the ball 30 plus times? I'm starting to have my questions about the game plan. We didn't fall behind big enough against Tampa to have Matt throwing the ball as much as he did. Rookie head coach, yes, but he had to stick to the plan he's developed. Here's the thing, David. Again, this is his first go round. This is his first time at the rodeo. I'm not excusing bad calls. He will probably come back and tell you next year or at the end of the year. When I go back to that Tampa game, I should have run the ball. But when you're in the moment, you think you got it all. You think you got all the answers. And he's going to say, I tried my best. And he wasn't able to do it. First year, again, a mulligan. Got to do better. But I'm not ready to totally trash him right now for that. He'll learn. Bad play calling, but he'll learn. Brother Odolph, how you doing, sir? So I know we have a better record than last year, but we also played a softer schedule this year. You know, we played a softer schedule, but here's my problem. Dude, a win is a win is a win. When you say play the softer schedule, I start thinking about last year. When you think about did we play a softer schedule? Dude, the winner of the NFC East last year, the winner of the NFC East last year was, we're all under 500. We lost to a Chicago team that made it to the playoffs and should have beat. We lost to a Dallas team because we didn't do an onside. We didn't recover our onside kick. We lost to the Saints with Taysom Hill at quarterback twice. A win is a win, man, at this point. Every team going out there is trying to win the game, whether you're good or not. Shoot, I'll arguably say, yeah, if you're going to go to the strength of schedule, maybe our best game of the year was the loss against Kansas City. And I know the Raiders, we won that game. But I'm talking about we played a decent game against Kansas City and deserved to win that game. But, of course, that didn't happen, so it is what it is. But I hear you. David said it was working. Run game was working. We stopped the run game. Yep. Gage is the guy who we brought in to be. We put him in a position where he isn't capable of managing. And he hasn't had enough time to run in those wide receiver one spots. He hasn't. He hasn't had the time. And you know, he's an unrestricted free agent this year. So we'll see how that goes. What's going on, brother? Said 5 games left. I need Matty Meltdown to freeze back up. Oh, I hope he can. I hope he can, bro. I hope he can. David says Brady is a winner in the current NFL system. Will he be that guy if he played in the 70s, 80s, and early 90s? Not at all, because they let you hit the quarterback back then. Back then, they let you hit the quarterback, folks. Say what you want to say about the greatness of Mahomes, the greatness of Lamar Jackson. To some people, I'm not a huge fan, but those folks in the 70s and 80s and in the early 90s would get blasted. They used to make films about hits on quarterbacks. They don't let you touch him now. Why do you think Brady say he's going to play into his 40s? Quarterbacks get hit now, they go looking at the ref for a flag. Back in those days, ask Joe Montana when he played the Giants. Some of you remember. Go ask Joe Montana when he was getting tore up by Bill Parcells' Giants. Would today's quarterback have made it during those days? Not even close. My opinion, but not even close. David said 13 different receivers scored touchdowns that year. No, you're talking about that 2016 year. 13, David. 13. Is that crazy? 13. David says, how do you feel about Kurt Warner's analysis of Matt Ryan? Did you listen to that video? And that dude is a quarterback guru. I learned some stuff to take back to Madden. You know, we already know the emotional state of some of our cling on to the quarterback until he can't throw anymore. See Roethlisberger in Pittsburgh yesterday. And a great comeback, but he looked old. Kurt Warner was right. Kurt Warner didn't think the and I'll call him whatever we call him, Ryan Ice, all that crap. Big time Matt Ryan fans were mad that they were talking about their quarterback. Kurt Warner was right. And I love the fact that he showed the good of Matt just to show people he was upset that Matt wasn't doing that all the time. See, the good quarterbacks stay consistent. He was pointing out the good at the very beginning of that video to show you. See, Matt did that right. He did that right. Now, wait a minute. Why did he let the ball go right here? Why did he skip this progression right here and throw to that guy? Why did he throw off one of the ones he throw off his foot or something like that he was talking about? But I think it was fair, honest analysis. And I think people just kind of overreacted to that. And yes, I'm going to take into account Kurt Warner is not only a Hall of Fame Super Bowl winning quarterback, but he also took another team to the Super Bowl as a quarterback. And if anybody I'm going to trust a little bit of analysis in, it would be Kurt. I don't think Kurt was trying to dog him. I think Kurt was saying, I'm disappointed because you should know better, Matt. If he was showing film of Josh Allen or Jordan Love or Justin Fields or Zach Wilson, I think he would be, he would feel in his element. He's like, okay, these guys will learn or whatever. He is upset that a veteran, former MVP of this league that's been in the league for a decade plus would make those mistakes. Offensive line notwithstanding, because he made a couple of point outs on that too. So I give Kurt a lot of credit. I'm not gonna be like other people and try to act like, oh, he was trying to dog Matt Ryan. He wasn't trying to dog Matt Ryan. Maybe they ain't trying to help. I'm pretty sure he probably called him and said, man, your folks coming after me. Now probably Sarah probably hiding as one of those folks. Oh man. Do teams get extra money for making the playoffs? They absolutely do. They have a playoff structure that you do it with each game. You actually, when you get in, it's a certain amount too. But as each game goes, your purse goes up. They absolutely do. David said Jim Burt put Montana in the hospital. Do you remember that hit, David? That hit, that shook. He got up. You're talking about, ask Joe Montana, could Brady take those hits? They didn't throw a flag on that one. They weren't throwing flags on those plays. They were letting them boys eat. Jim Burt got a piece that day. Remember, well, if I'm not mistaken, was that 49-3? That game? I know it was a big win. David says because he ain't getting his butt lit up like they did back then. I feel the same. That's why I can't crown Brady. And again, it's hard because I don't want to seem like that grumpy old man and like back in my day we used to do right. And I get it. The games evolve and whatever. But it's almost like the basketball thing when they talk about LeBron to Jordan to Magic in the different eras. You can only judge them in eras. You can't judge them. Throw him back. When I hear people, LeBron James would have been good back in the day. Well, no, back in the day, he wouldn't have been lifting weights till his heart content because nobody was doing that back then. They learned. They evolved. Clayton says, why some Dan's, probably fans, don't want this team to go? More money we can use for impact free agents. You got it. I don't know, brother. I wish I knew. Damon says, can Atlanta hire Kurt as Matt's personal quarterback coach? Matt can afford to hire him. That's for sure. Cam says, Kurt has taken his lumps in the AFL, NFL, won a title, and was a whisker away from beating the Steelers in the with the Cardinals. He absolutely was. David says that was the 49-3 game. I knew you would know that, David. And I thought that's what it was. That was a big win because back then, 49ers were dominating. 49ers were New England. Cincinnati was Indianapolis. I say Indianapolis. I guess the NFC version. Frisco. Well, Frisco beat Cincinnati both times. So I guess that would be Cincinnati. Also, he said Kurt was preaching those backsliders got mad at me. Y'all wrong for that. Oh man. David says, dude, Brady wouldn't. I can't watch basketball anymore. It's like glorified church league now. And again, that's why it's always funny when I see the basketball players. Basketball players now, they play and then they run to the referee most of the time. That's all they do. It's hard to look at. It really is. Folks, I got to get rolling to work. I'm glad y'all caught me. My prediction for the game, I do think it's going to be a close game. I think we're going to be a little bit better. Let's see if Arthur Smith learns and runs the ball. My prediction for the game, Atlanta 27, Carolina 24. Think it's going to be close. Think it might be one of those cases where I think Atlanta is going to go up by 10. Carolina will make it close. Cam will open his shirt, say Superman, stuff like that. And then at the end of the game, Cam will either fumble the ball or throw an interception to end it. Look at this. Look at this game, and let's see if they run. David said, "I'm sneaking watching you while I work." Brother, you better be on work. Don't be trying to blame me if you look. Don't be trying to blame me if they put you off the clock, bro. You better go back to work. Anyway, I'm getting ready to make myself back scarce and go to work. Until then, I'll see y'all on Sunday after the game. Talk to y'all then. Until then, we'll be on here, Marcus, myself, I think Tidy, we'll see, and talk about the win. And I'm speaking into existence, the win on Sunday against those kittens. All right, y'all. Y'all take care. Have a great weekend. We'll see you.